Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Hope you are well and fine, must be preparing for your test and must be listening to these new lectures of chapter number 2. So dear students, as you already know that we had actually started chapter number 2 and we were actually doing the phases or steps involved in the software development life cycle. As you already know that there are certain 9 to 10 steps or phases involved in the development of in the development of a process, in the development of a software or system, and out of those 10 phases or steps, we are already done with defining and planning phase. After the defining and planning phase, now today in our today's lecture we will move on to the third type or step of system development life cycle, and that step is, after planning, that third step is feasibility phase or feasibility study phase. So what is basically feasibility study? As told you earlier that in system development life cycle, it is very important to perform all the steps or phases in a sequence. One step cannot be performed until the previous step has not been completed. For example, if the defining phase had not been completed, the planning phase cannot start. If the planning phase has not been completed, the feasibility study phase cannot start. So the sequence of phases or steps is very important for the overall completion of software or system development life cycle. So feasibility study comes after the planning stage, defining stage, after its completion, planning stage. After the completion of planning stage comes the feasibility study stage. So here the term project is basically used for the system or software under development. So what is a feasibility study? As the name implies, a feasibility study is used to determine the viability of an idea, that how viable, how fruitful, or how usable, how suitable that idea can be, such as ensuring that a project of a system or software is legally and technically feasible as well as economically justifiable or not. In other words, it tells us whether a project of system or project of software development is worth investment or not, whether a system or software development project is worth developing or not. A system development team should invest its time, resources, energy, personnel in the development of that system or software project or not, or the customer should invest in that project or not. So feasibility means feasible, something feasible or not, something possible or not, something suitable or not. So feasible is to complete. Here the feasibility means it is feasible to complete a system or software development project within time constraint or deadline or not, feasible to develop within the assigned budget allotted by the sponsor or not. So it provides a cost benefit analysis. Is it beneficial to do a project in allotted budget or not? So technically feasible means skill or machinery, technical stuff is available to develop that proposed system or not. So feasibility of that proposed or planned system or that planned system on the basis of that project charter is basically analyzed. Its feasibility, its suitability, its possibility is analyzed, that it is feasible to do that proposed plan, to develop that proposed plan or not, to develop that proposed system or software project or not. So feasibility phase of Stlc gives the assessment of cost, of legalities, of schedule, etc. It tells if the technical capabilities are there to support the idea or not. Thus, does this project meet the legal regulations or not, or is the budget reasonable in order to develop this system or software based project or not. This is what the stakeholders want to see or what they care the most about or not, etc. So the feasibility study is used, this is the definition of feasibility study, that feasibility study is used to assess the strengths and weaknesses of a proposed software, of a proposed system. And feasibility study presents the direction of activities which will improve a project and help in achieving the desired results. The nature and components of feasibility study depends primarily on the areas in which analyzed projects are implemented. So feasibility study is the analysis and evaluation of a proposed project or system to determine whether it is technically, financially or economically, legally, timetable-wise, schedulally or operationally feasible within the estimated cost and time or not. Feasibility study is one of the important steps in software development lifecycle. For a software development lifecycle strategy to work, there should be a strong idea of what deficiencies exist in the current planning, in the current structure, and the goals for the new approach. So a feasibility study determines if you can or should accomplish the goals of the plan, or the goals planned in the planning stage. So information is gathered and analyzed to identify what technical assets, personnel, technical experts or staff, and training is already in place and utilized. The study also investigates what is needed to augment or replace or increase, and at what cost. During this phase, you determine the overall project scope, including the economic, operational, and human factors, identifying the key personnel and developing the timelines. A feasibility analysis evaluates the project's potential for success, that is it feasible to do this project or not, and this project would be successful, it would be worth investing the time and energy or not. Therefore, perceived objectivity is an essential factor in the credibility of the study for potential investors and lending institutions. There are 5 types of feasibility study, separate areas that a feasibility study examines are described as. But before moving on these 5 major areas, in simple words, I want to say this, that as in the defining phase, the project manager, the system analyst conducted a meeting with the customer and took the requirements from the customer, that what the customer actually wants. They identified the major problem statements, that what the customer wants to get done from the software or system development team. What is the basic idea in the customer minds, that he wants to upgrade or wants to have some upgraded features in the existing system, he wants to upgrade an existing system, or he wants to actually get that software development team, he wants from them a brand new system or software developed from scratch. So they actually take the requirements from the customer. At the end of this phase, they produce a problem statement which encompasses all these customers' requirements. They get this document approved from the customer for further ease. After the defining phase, when the problem statement and the customer's requirements, what customer actually wants, these requirements are documented. In planning phase, here comes in the project manager, who actually now the project manager knows that what the customer wants according to the problem or according to the requirement of the customer. Now the project manager has to adjust certain stuff. He needs to actually adjust the resources like human resource, personnel, staff members, technical staff required, hardware required, software or technical tools required, infrastructure required. He plans these resources He plans risks, he plans budget or cost, that the budget or cost allotted by the customer or sponsor organization would be enough for the software development life cycle steps or phases or not. So he also plans the activities, he plans all these things. After that comes in the feasibility study. As in after the plan, at the end of planning phase, a project charter has been produced, a document consisting of all these planned things. A project charter consists of all these things planned by the project manager. So after the planning phase, now comes in the feasibility study. In feasibility study, the system analyst would get active. Like in planning phase, all things were, or planning was done by the project manager, while in the feasibility study, the feasibility checking or feasibility analysis would be done by the system analyst. Now the system analyst would actually analyze that project charter, would analyze all the resources mentioned in the project charter, personnel, hardware, software, or requirements or system requirements needed in order to get things, or in order to get things done, in order to actually get things or process done in the steps or phases of Stlc. So he analyzes all these resources, he analyzes the risk plans, quality check plans, budget or cost plans, or he would check the deadlines, he would check all the things written in the project charter. He would basically, we can say that the system analyst basically analyzes the strengths and weaknesses on the basis of that proposed project, on the basis of that proposed project charter. He would assess all the things written in that project charter, he would assess all the things written in that proposed project, and he would assess the strengths and weaknesses or feasibility of that proposed project on the basis of things written in that charter. He would also give, after assessing the strengths and weaknesses, he would basically assess that would it be feasible to go with this project, to work on this project or not. He would also give certain directions for performing the activities in system development life cycle. So he would basically, the system analyst would basically assess the strengths and weaknesses of that proposed project. He would assess the strengths and weaknesses of that proposed plan, project charter, on the basis of 5 main checks. There are 5 main types of feasibility checks on the basis of which the system analyst would analyze that proposed charter, he would analyze that proposed plan. And these mainly 5 types of feasibility checks are technical feasibility, economic feasibility, operational feasibility, legal feasibility, and schedule feasibility. So the system analyst would first of all assess the strengths and weaknesses of the proposed plan, of the proposed charter, on the basis of technical feasibility. Now what he would assess in the technical feasibility, what he would assess from technical point of view. Technical feasibility is that he would check that whether the current system of the system of the software development or system development organization can support that development process or not. He would also check that whether the current system or current software of customers organization can support the developed or upgraded software or not, whether the current system will be able to handle and run the new software, new build software. So this assessment focuses on the technical resources available to the organization. It helps organization determine whether the technical resources meet the capacity and whether the technical team is capable of converting the ideas into working systems. Means the system analyst would not just analyze the technical feasibility of the customer organization, that customer who actually place the order for a new or software or for upgradations in the existing system or software. So the system analyst not only assesses the technical aspects of that customer organization, that customer organization would be able to support the new software, new system or not. That system analyst also analyzes the technical capability of the software development organization, of the software development team. He would determine that whether the already existing technical resources present in the software development organization would meet the capacity, and whether the technical team has those technical skills or technical expertise. Will the technical experts of software development team, of software development organization, they would be able they are capable of converting the customer ideas or customer requirements into working systems or not? Does the existing staff or personnel has that technical standard? They are able to technically execute certain phases or activities or steps of the software development life cycle or not? So the technical feasibility also involves the evaluation of the hardware or software and other technical requirements of the proposed system. Means in technical feasibility, the system analyst evaluates the existing hardware capacity and software tools owned by the software development team. He would actually analyze that the software development organization already has those technical tools like hardware or software or infrastructure or technical support system or technical requirements in order to work on this new software, or in order to work on this this new demanded system, the system which has been demanded by the customer. So as an exaggerated example, an organization wouldn't want to try to put robots in their building in order to get work done. So currently this project is not technically feasible, especially in Pakistan's environment. So this is not technically feasible. So I just would say this, that the bottom line here is that in technical feasibility, the system analyst would analyze the strengths and weaknesses of not just the software development organization, but he would also analyze the strengths and weaknesses from the technical point of view of the customer side too. He would analyze or assess that whether the existing computer system or existing system of that customer's organization is able to support the upgraded system or software or new system or software. So he also assesses that will the current system of that customer's organization will be able to handle and run the new software or new system. He also assesses the software development organization's team expertise, that are they capable enough or expert enough to deal with the technical steps of phases or steps involved in system development life cycle. The software development organization also already has enough hardware or software or tools or infrastructure. They already have those things available with them in order to build the demanded software by the customer. They already have these things. They already have this technical expertise. They already have these technical tools available with them or not. So the system analyst in technical feasibility he analyzes the technical feasibility with respect to the hardware and software components, also with respect to the personals or staffs or experts technical capabilities. Economic, then second measure, second angle from which a system analyst assesses the strengths and weaknesses of a proposed charter or a proposed plan. So the second angle from which the system analyst analyzes is the economic feasibility. he checks the economic feasibility, that he would check that can we complete the project within the budget or not. Is it feasible to complete the project in the defined budget or budget allotted or assigned by the sponsor, by the customer organization or not? The system analyst will need to identify the benefits of each possible solution. As told you earlier that in planning phase, the project manager actually planned certain solutions, alternative solutions or alternative strategies like plan A, plan B, plan C, strategy A, strategy B, strategy C, D, C, multiple strategies or plans or alternatives or alternative solutions were planned by the project manager in order to reduce the risks. So system analyst will need to identify the benefits of each possible solution. Now it is the duty of the system analyst that he would analyze each and every plan, each and every strategy, each and every alternative planned by the project manager in the planning stage. So the system analyst will now assess all those plans, all those solutions, all those alternatives on the basis of cost and budget. He would analyze all the possible solutions or alternatives which were planned in the planning stage. He identifies that how much each solution will cost the company. He would analyze, he would do the cost benefit analysis. This is called as the cost benefit analysis. This is very important point, that the system analyst will perform the cost benefit analysis by analyzing or assessing each and every possible solution, each and every possible strategy, each and every possible alternative which was originally planned by the project manager in the planning stage. But the assessment or analysis or assessment of those solutions or alternatives are being done by the system analyst in the economic feasibility stage. So he would see that which solution is more cost effective. Cost effective means जिसमें कम खर्चा आ रहा हो, ठीक है? तो he would surely assess that which solution A is more cost effective, then he would go with solution A. If solution C is more cost effective, then he would go with solution C. So he will surely identify that which solution will cost the company less and which solution will cost the company more. So this is known as cost benefit analysis. This assessment typically involves a cost benefit analysis of the system or software project, helping the organizations determine the viability, cost and benefits associated with the project before financial resources are allocated. You need to know this. Till the feasibility stage, all the things are just planned. Nothing has been provided by the project management team to certain experts in order to get work done. All the things are just in planning or documentation phase. So it also serves as economic feasibility. It also serves as an independent project assessment, and it enhances the project credibility. Economic feasibility enhances the project credibility, helping the decision makers determine the positive economic benefits to the organization that the proposed project will provide. So the system analyst performs the cost benefit analysis. It will ultimately determine the positive economic benefits to an organization, as the system analyst will identify that which solution is more cost effective for the organization. So in economic feasibility, the cost effective or cost benefit analysis is done by the system analyst. He actually identifies each and every solution or alternative or any such strategies. He measures those strategies or solutions or alternatives on the basis of economic feasibility, that which solution would be more cost effective. Likewise, the third angle or the third check which would be performed by the system analyst would be the operational feasibility. The system analyst would perform the operational feasibility of the project charter of the proposed project. He would assess that can we create operations which are expected by the client, operational means that the software development team would be able to incorporate or develop such features or such instructions or interfaces which would support the operations of the customer organization's user. So the system analyst would analyze or assess that, can we create the operations which are expected by the customer organization? Is it possible to create the operations that the client is expecting? Is it possible to create the features expected by the customer organization? Is it possible to create the options or interfaces which are actually expected by the customer organization? So in order to facilitate the working or productivity of that customer organization, so is it possible to do this all stuff? The system analyst will question all these things, will assess all these things on the basis of these questions. So this assessment involves undertaking a study to analyze and determine whether and how well the organization's needs can be met by completing the system or software based project. So the operational feasibility studies operational feasibility study examines how a project plan, project proposal satisfy the requirements identified in the requirement by the requirement analysis phase of the system development. But here we would say that the operational feasibility study would examine that how a project plan or project proposal would satisfy the requirements identified in the defining phase by the project manager and system analyst when they actually took the requirements from the customer in the defining phase. So all in all, operational feasibility is all about questioning that system analyst questions that he assesses the strengths and weaknesses on the basis of that would the system development team be able to create such operations, create such interfaces, create such features, create such options in the system or software which would enhance the productivity of the customer organization, or which would be expected by the customer organization, or those features or interfaces or options which would actually which would be actually easily usable, which would be easily usable by the customer organizations. Those operations or icons or interface which would be easily operatable by the customer organization, by the customer organization's customers or users. So all in all, it is all about creating those interfaces, options, features or operations which are originally expected by the customer organizations, which satisfy the needs of customer organization. Suppose as a customer organization wants a web portal like nowadays you people are using. So customer organizations want a software development organization to develop a web portal for them, and in that web portal they want to add features like employee they want options like employee attendance. But if the software development or system development organization is unable to incorporate or develop such features into the web portal system, then this means that the software development organization is not fulfilling the expectations of the customer organization, because the customer organization wants that they want features such as employee attendance, employee notifications, employee SMS alerts. They want features or options like that. But if the software development organization is not incorporating such features into the web portal system, this simply means that they are not fulfilling the expectations. So ultimately, a plan or a proposed project should be like that, in which all the expectations, operational expectations of the customer should be properly met. Now after the technical, economic and operational feasibility, the fourth type of feasibility on the basis of which a system analyst actually assesses the strengths and weaknesses of a proposed plan or proposed system or project, and that fourth check or angle is legal feasibility. That is very simple. The software development team needs to understand that while developing a software or system, they need to take care of the rules and laws. System analyst actually identifies any legal or moral considerations in the possible solutions, that the solutions or alternatives or strategies which were planned by the project manager in the planning stage. So the system analyst would assess those solutions, alternatives or strategies, that if they have any legal or moral considerations or not. Can this project, the system analyst would assess that, can this project handle the regulatory compliance or frameworks? Can we handle this project as cyber law and other regulatory framework or compliances? So feasibility as per law to check that if the proposed system is not violating. Means the feasibility as per legal feasibility is that if the proposed system is not violating or breaking or breaching the laws of that city, state or country, means that software or system is legally possible or not. If that software is software project or system project is developing any laws, that means that software or system is not legally feasible for the software development organization. So this assessment investigates whether any aspect of the proposed project conflicts with legal requirements like zoning laws or data protection laws or data protection acts or social media laws. Let's say an organization wants to construct a new office building in a specific location. A feasibility study might reveal the organization's ideal location, and the feasibility study might reveal that that location is not ideal for that organization's building construction or building new office. So that organization has just saved considerable time and effort by learning that their project was not feasible right from the beginning, because the location on which they wanted to build their offices building was actually not suitable. That location was not suitable for their project. Afterwards, the last check or the last angle from which a system analyst would assess the proposed project or proposed plan is the schedule feasibility. This is very simple. Schedule means deadlines or timetable, etc. So the system analyst would analyze that whether this project could complete in the given time frame, the time frame given by the customer organization. So system analyst actually assesses that the project can be completed within the assigned schedule, within the assigned time or not. In addition to a cost benefit analysis, the system analyst will also identify a time scale for each proposed solution. Likewise, we are again and again saying this, for all the proposed solutions or strategies or plans by the project manager in the planning phase. In the feasibility phase, all those solutions were analyzed by the system analyst. System analyst actually assessed those solutions economically. He assessed their cost benefit analysis. He assessed he also assesses their time frame or time scale or deadline too. Means in addition to a cost benefit analysis of those solutions or strategies or alternatives given by the project manager in the planning phase, the system analyst also identifies a time scale for each solution, that how long each solution would take to get implemented, to get developed. So this assessment is the most important for project success. After all, a project will fail if not completed on time. So in scheduling feasibility, an organization estimates how much time the project will take to complete, how much time each and every phase, each and every step of the system development life cycle will take in order to produce a deliverable, how much time each and every phase or step would take in order to get the work done. So schedule feasibility is relevant to the milestones completion, to the completion of overall project within time, within the allotted or assigned time. Here on screen you can also see this. Now a short stuff like technical feasibility is doing what? System analyst is actually making an assessment. He focuses on the organizational technical resources, that the organization has all those technical resources, hardware, software, off-the-shelf tools, infrastructure required in order to develop that proposed software or system. If it helps your, he analyzes that if the organization has that creative capacity, means the experts or personnel or staff of a software development organization, actually they have that level of skills or expertise in order to develop that system or software demanded by the customer organization. If the technical team can convert those ideas into the working systems or not. This is a kind of summary for those 5 technical areas on which the system analyst actually measures the proposed plan. In economic feasibility, this assessment actually typically involves a cost-benefit analysis of all the solutions of a project, helping the organizations determine the viability or feasibility or possibility and benefits associated with the project. Legal feasibility actually investigates whether any aspect of the proposed project conflicts with the legal requirements like zoning laws or data protection acts or social media laws, etc. While the operational feasibility involves undertaking a study to analyze and determine whether and how well the organization's needs can be met by completing the project. While the scheduling feasibility, this assessment is the most important for project success, because in scheduling feasibility, an organization estimates that how much time the project will take to complete. So the concluding points are that, my conclusion is that the system analyst will carry out the above tasks and produces a report called the feasibility study. Now here, point to be noted is that in defining phase, the deliverable was a problem statement document, a document of requirements which was approved by the customer. The deliverable of planning phase was project charter or proposed project, while the deliverable of feasibility study phase is, deliverable of feasibility phase is feasibility report, feasibility study report. This report will be presented, this written report will be presented to the upper management of the company inside the software development organization, and may also do the system analyst or the other team members can also do a presentation of their findings relevant to the feasibility study report. This report will be the document that the company uses to decide whether or not to proceed with the project. So see how important this feasibility study report is, because on the basis of this feasibility study report, the upper management would decide, the upper management of that software development organization would decide that whether to proceed with the development of the project or not. Would the system or software be developed or not? So 2 outcomes are possible. Project manager must either make a decision on whether to proceed with the proposed system project, system software or not. If the customer organization does not have sufficient funds in its budget, then project does not proceed any further. They can decide not to go ahead with the project, perhaps because a solution is more expensive or more disruptive than they thought, or they can decide to go ahead with a solution if some possible solution is feasible. If they decide to go ahead, they need first to select the solution that they want to go with from the range of possible solutions, all those possible solutions which were actually planned by the project manager in the planning phase. Any one of the solution would be selected from that range of possible solutions, and the range of possible solutions put forward in the feasibility study. They then need to agree other details such as the budget for the project and a start date for the next stage in the project. So dear students, we are done with our today's lecture completely. Till this moment, we are done with the 3 stages or phases of system development life cycle, which are defining phase, planning phase, and feasibility. In feasibility phase, we mostly studied actually those 5 angles, 5 criterias, basically on the basis of which a system analyst assesses the proposed project, the project charter. And on the basis of this feasibility study, the project manager or the upper management decides that whether to proceed with the development of this system or software project or not. So the decision of the development of the software or system is made on the basis of that feasibility report. So dear students, in our next lecture, inshallah, we proceed with the other types of system development life cycle. Till then, Allah Hafiz, stay safe and stay healthy.